is loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I'm the host of the stream. We are set to begin soon, so don't go anywhere. Please share this live stream on social media. We're going to be having footage soon, folks, of the beginning of the Trump rally. Speakers that come up to the stage before the president comes out. So give me a second as we get everything ready to go for you folks. We actually have a little bit of footage from the Beto O'Rourke what they're calling it, counter rally, close to where the president is having his massive rally. I want to show you guys real quick how many people. Well, actually, I'm gonna put it on Twitter. So make sure you go and follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times. I'll show a picture of the crowd, the massive crowd, according to the mainstream media, at the Beto O'Rourke event. Again, follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times, because if I put it on, if I put it up here on the channel, the people at Beto O'Rourke's campaign, or Democrats or anybody can possibly copyright strike it. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to myself. So I'll put a picture of it, of the massive crowd, according to the Democrats, that Beto O'Rourke has. So make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times, and you guys can check it out. It's pretty crazy. But I'm going to put something up on the screen first as we get everything ready for you folks. Please share the live stream on social media. Like I said, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll go on from there.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it. The jobs numbers just came out, and we added 304,000 jobs, which was a shocker to a lot of people. A shocker to me. The country's doing really well. We have the strongest economy anywhere in the world by far, and we're the strongest nation in the world. So that was really good, but those numbers were very, very impressive. Labor force participation rose 63.2 and rose to 63.2. That's a great number. Hourly earnings rose for people working. The earnings rose. Those are numbers that you didn't used to hear very much. So we're very honored, but very importantly, we added 304,000 jobs. Estimates were 150 to 170, and it turned out to be 304,000. So that's a big, big number. Companies are reporting extremely well. Numbers on earnings have been great. And I think we are headed in a very, very powerful direction. Other countries are not doing well. Actually, that's probably, in many ways, that's one of the headwinds that we have, because other countries in other areas are not doing well, and we're doing fantastically well. So we'll take that every single time, but would like to see others do better. China's having a very tough time. As you know, Europe, the EU is having a pretty tough time. So I guess it makes our numbers look even more important. It makes them look even better. We're here to talk about human trafficking on the southern border. This is a group of incredible people who we've been working with in different levels and different forms, and they're going to be speaking, most of them, and telling you some stories and how we need border security. And if we don't have it, the Democrats, frankly, will be doing this country a tremendous disservice. Nancy Pelosi is doing a very, very great disservice to our country, and I think she's got to get on the ball, because we're going to have a wall that's being built anyway. But if you don't have it, human trafficking, just as an example, when you see today what's going on, people that aren't willing to do what they have to do and they know what they have to do, they're doing the country a tremendous disservice. We're here to directly, from members of law enforcement, hear what they have to say. And battling the scourge of human trafficking, on our southern border and all across our nation. Much of it comes, in fact, most of it comes, some people would say almost all of it, from the southern border, which we can stop very easily. This is not something you can go through points of entry. You can't just say that you have 3 people in a car and bound up and all sorts of problems, and you can't go through a port of entry, obviously. They go through areas where we don't have a wall. So I want to thank Secretary Nielsen, Associate Chief Carl McLafferty, and Acting ICE Director Ron Vitello for joining us for this important event. It's a really important event. Human trafficking is worse now than it's ever been in the history of our world. It's a world problem. It's a U.S. problem, but it's a world problem caused to a certain extent by the internet. One of the reasons that we have it so bad is the internet. That's why it's picked up tremendously over the last 5 years, because of the internet. My administration has made the fight against human trafficking one of our highest priorities. In the past several weeks, I've signed 4 robust pieces of bipartisan human trafficking legislation. My director of intelligence, and we have a group of people that are incredible. They've elevated the human trafficking problem to the highest levels. We're watching closer than ever before. We're studying people that are doing it. We're following them. We're capturing them. But our job could be made a lot easier if we had support for what the incredible law enforcement folks do at the southern border. Our progress will be limited if we do not secure our porous.
All right, folks, here, hold on, give me 1 second here as I... So make sure, like I said, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, because we posted the picture of Beto O'Rourke's live rally, massive rally according to the Democrats, and there's only like 15 people there. So make sure you guys go and check it out. It's pretty crazy how the Democrats are saying that there's so many people, even though there's only like 5 or 10 max. So make sure you guys go and check it out. It's pretty craziness what the Democrats are saying, supposedly that that there's so many people at that rally when there's only, just a little bit of people, and they're just trying to make it seem so much more when it's not even true. I'm trying to see what the reason YouTube is really starting to screw up right now, why they're doing it. But hold on, give me a second. I think it just has to do with what's going on here. Hold on.
People working in the earnings rows, those are numbers
Here we go.
didn't used to hear very much. So we're very honored, but very importantly, we added 4,000 jobs. Estimates were 150 to 170, and it turned out to be 304,000. So that's a big number. Companies are reporting extremely well. Numbers on earnings have been great, and I think we are headed in a very powerful direction. Other countries are not doing well. Actually, that's probably, in many ways, that's one of the headwinds that we have, because other countries in other areas are not doing well, and we're doing fantastically well. So we'll take that every single time, but we'd like to see others do better. China's having a very tough time. As you know, Europe, the EU is having a pretty tough time. So I guess it makes our numbers look even more important. It makes them look even better. We're here to talk about human trafficking on the southern border. This is a group of incredible people who we've been working with in different levels and different forms, and they're going to be speaking, most of them, and telling you some stories and how we need border security. And if we don't have it, the Democrats, frankly, will be doing this country a tremendous disservice. Nancy Pelosi is doing a very great disservice to our country, and I think she's got to get on the ball, because we're going to have a wall that's being built anyway. But if you don't have it, human trafficking, just as an example, when you see today what's going on, people that aren't willing to do what they have to do, and they know what they have to do, they're doing the country a tremendous disservice. we're here to directly from members of law enforcement hear what they have to say. And battling the scourge of human trafficking on our southern border and all across our nation. Much of it comes, in fact, most of it comes, some people would say almost all of it, from the southern border, which we can stop very easily. This is not something you can go through points of entry. You can't just say that you have 3 people in a car and bound up and all sorts of problems, and you can't go through a port of entry, obviously. They go through areas where we don't have a wall. So I want to thank Secretary Nielsen, Associate Chief Carl McLafferty, and Acting ICE Director Ron Vitello for joining us for this important event. It's a really important event. Human trafficking is worse now than it's ever been in the history of our world. It's a world problem. It's a U.S. problem, but it's a world problem caused to a certain extent by the internet. One of the reasons that we have it so bad is the internet. That's why it's picked up tremendously over the last 5 years, because of the internet. My administration has made the fight against human trafficking one of our highest priorities. In the past several weeks, I've signed 4 robust pieces of bipartisan human trafficking legislation. My director of intelligence and we have a group of people that are incredible. They've elevated the human trafficking problem to the highest levels. We're watching closer than ever before. We're studying people that are doing it. We're following them. We're capturing them. But our job could be made a lot easier if we had support for what the incredible law enforcement folks do at the southern border. Our progress will be limited if we do not secure our porous border and put an end to the human trafficking and humanitarian crisis that is taking place at the southern border. It is indeed a crisis. And you know, we have right now an invasion. If you look at what's going on with the caravans, it's an invasion. There are 3 caravans heading our way. If we had a wall, it wouldn't even be a problem. But we've sent 2,500 military down to help Border Patrol and law enforcement. And I have to say the military has done an incredible job, including helping us with some walls and some fences, which are very necessary. Unsecure borders give traffickers free and clear passage to transport their victims into the United States. It's a tremendously big moneymaker for some very, very bad people. In fiscal year 2018, ICE made more than 1,500 human trafficking arrests, with 97% of that for sex trafficking. And it's a big movement now because of the Super Bowl, if you can believe this. They are bringing in a lot of women through the southern border for the Super Bowl. And then I have people like Nancy Pelosi and Democrats that say, oh, we don't need a wall. And they come through areas where you don't have any form of barrier protection. In a moment, we'll hear from several individuals who are working tirelessly every single day to fight the trafficking, rescue victims, and support survivors. Survivors need tremendous support. What they go through is unimaginable. Former DHS Special Agent and Advocate Timothy Ballard, who is here, will detail one case where a 13-year-old girl from Central America was kidnapped, trafficked across a section of our border without a wall, and then horribly abused in captivity while in New York City. Taken right through a certain section where there is no wall, you can't see anything for miles and miles and miles. They could have come through anywhere they wanted. And we'd have that all filled up. It'd be very hard. Even one woman or one child trafficked is too many. But there are thousands and thousands and thousands, and it's billions of dollars of money flowing into the pockets of some very bad criminals. There are potential victims, including young children, that we can still protect if we act now to secure our border and build a wall. The case we're building a wall is everything. It's everything. Human trafficking by airplane is almost impossible. Human trafficking by van and truck in the backseat of a car, and going through a border where there's nobody for miles and miles and there's no wall to protect. It's very easy. They make a right, then they make a left, they come into our country, and they sell people. And we cannot let it go on. And the Democrats can play their game, but if you watch them at interviews, they want to get off that subject so fast because there's no way they can justify the fact that a wall works. It works so well. I watched them the other day. I watched a couple of high-ranking Democrats trying to explain that walls are not necessary, really. They're immoral. What's immoral is when people come into our country and kill innocent victims. If you look at the San Diego area, if you look at many areas where you have the wall, you look at Tijuana. If we didn't have a wall in Tijuana now, you'd have people coming in by the tens of thousands. But we have a wall. It's an old wall. It's not a good wall, and it still works. What we're building is incredible. We're building a lot of wall right now. We're renovating wall and we're building wall. And we're going to continue to build wall, regardless of what happens with this committee, which I say is a waste of time, because any recommendation that comes back to me, and I'm a very modern guy, they like to say walls are medieval. They work 100%. And what doesn't work is technology if you don't have the wall. The technology is called the bells and whistles. And we have the top law enforcement people in the country here, really in the world, and they will tell you that without the wall, it all doesn't work. It can't come together. If you just take a look at parts, take a look at Tijuana, imagine that. Imagine us taking that wall and moving it to Texas. Let's take it up and move it to Texas. They would like to have it. Let's take it up and move it right over to Arizona or New Mexico. They would love to have it. They would love to have it. And you would have thousands and thousands of people. There would be nothing you could do to stop the people from pouring across. But we're here to talk about human trafficking, and this is something where people have no idea how bad it's become. Worse than ever at any time in the history of our world because of the internet. So I'm going to ask Secretary Nielsen to speak, and then we're going to show you some videos and some other things. And I don't think there'll be anybody up there, including from the media, that disagrees with me. They may not write it that way, but there will be nobody that disagrees with me. Secretary, please.
Thank you. Well, first I want to thank everyone for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Mr. President, thank you always for your leadership. This is an extraordinarily important topic, and as you've said many, many times, it's a horrific, horrendous, and horrible ongoing tragedy and crisis that we have due to our vulnerabilities on the southern border. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is an insidious form of modern-day slavery. That's what this is. This is not a problem that is experienced in other places of the world. It's experienced here, today, in the United States of America. It is something that this entire administration is committed to combating. It takes very close coordination with state and local governments, but also with our international partners to take down the transnational criminal organizations that are at the heart of this crime. And before we turn to other people, I just want to talk a little bit about the fact that this is directly related to our unsecure southern border. Transnational criminal organizations have taken advantage of our unsecure border. The result is that we continually see young girls used as pawns to line the pockets not only of criminal illegal aliens, but also of the cartels who violate our nation's borders and our laws and use that money to fund other criminal enterprises. The President mentioned the Super Bowl. I just want to pause to say DHS. In addition, I'd like to thank the over 600 DHS personnel who are on the ground in Atlanta to help the state and local secure the Super Bowl. But we also continue to do our other mission sets, which includes combating human trafficking. We have made over 40 arrests, and some of the victims that we have saved, unfortunately, include underage children that have been brought in for the purposes of being sold and abused as part of Super Bowl activities. So I want to thank all of HSI for their great work continually, but also as we prepare for the Super Bowl. So before we turn to our law enforcement folks at the table, what we'd like to do is turn to Tim Ballard, who is the founder and CEO of Operation Underground. and also to Elmer Tucker. Thanks to both of them for being here, the founder and president of the International Network of Hearts. They'll be talking to us about their experience assisting victims, sir. So I'd like to start with, perhaps with Tim and then with Alma.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you very much. I spent 12 years as a special agent, as an undercover operator, working on the southern border, working sex trafficking cases. And I can tell you, you're exactly right. One little girl I can tell you about, in fact, I introduced this little girl to Miss Trump during a private briefing. This little girl was kidnapped in Central America, 11 years old, groomed for 2 years, with the intent of getting her ready to come to America. Why? Because we are the highest consuming nation of child pornography. We are the clientele that's the big money. They brought this little girl through a part of the southern border where there was no wall, easily got her to New York City, and this is hard to hear, but this is the truth, and everyone needs to hear this. This little girl, and this is very typical, raped for money every day, 30 to 40 times a day. If that's not a crisis, if that's not an emergency, I don't know what is. Now let me say this, had there been a wall, had there been a barrier, this little girl likely would have been saved, because the traffickers would have been forced to take this child through the port of entry, where we have amazing law enforcement. I've worked with these people. These are the best people on the planet. They can detect, they have equipment, they have trained agents. In contrast, while this was happening, I was working another case. A little boy, a Mexican boy who was kidnapped by an American trafficker by a child pornographer. He kidnapped Mexican children, brought them to San Bernardino County, where he had a makeshift studio, made child porn with these little children, 5 years old. This little boy was kidnapped in Mexicali, Mexico, where there was a wall, where there is a barrier, and so he was forced to take this little boy through the Calexico port of entry, and guess what? It worked. We captured him. We rescued the little boy, and subsequently rescued 12 other children in San Bernardino, California. The difference between those two cases is 2 + 2 = 4. The wall was the difference. The wall rescued this little boy, and the lack of a wall caused this little girl to go through a hell that is indescribable, that is not manufactured. It is a real crisis. It is a real emergency.
And you have many thousands of people like this.
Thousands. This is happening all the time. We work in Mexico. We have done several operations. I've just met with the Secretary of State, their equivalent, Olga Sanchez, just last month about this. We are having to do operations in Mexico, our foundation, working with law enforcement, to essentially become the wall, because there is no wall. We're forward deployed. It's like trying to catch flies with chopsticks. It works. We can make it work, but if we had a big, fly swatter, which is the wall, that'd be a lot better. Yeah. It stops it.
That's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to actually put a face to this horrible epidemic situation that we live in, called human trafficking. We are International Network Heart, and we represent more than 50 organizations fighting for both sides of the country together against human trafficking. And we realize that not only the kids needs to be rescued, also provide services. And this is why we have 2 shelters, one for boys and one for girls. And we know also that the statistic, they said that the mayor is from 12 to 24 years, they're vulnerable. But we were shocked to receive kids 4, 5-year-old. As you know, when they're rescued, they come with a lot of trauma, they need a lot of services. And I want to tell you a little bit how I started working in human trafficking, and that was 20 years ago when I used to work in the Mexican consulate. And I had the privilege to serve some kids that were rescued. One particular case impacted my life. She was only 14-year-old, and the smuggler, the parents paid the smuggler to bring her undocumented through the mountains to this country. But the smuggler told her that her parents didn't pay a full amount for her transportation, and she had to pay. She had to pay with her own body and have sex with all the people in the group, then go through this journal. And they forced her to have sex 20, 30 times until Border Patrol rescued her, and they would transfer her right away to the hospital. And I was there. They called me. I used to work in the consulate, and just to hear a girl, 14-year-old, crying for her mother, crying for someone that can help her after going through this trauma, I was able to be there and hold her hand through these horrible moments. And I promised her to stay with her, holding her hand until I was able to find her parents. And she has to go through horrible situations, as you know, medical interviews, everything. And I promised myself, no matter I didn't work anymore with the counselor, I had to do something. Cases like this, I see one after another. I remember another girl, only 9-year-old. She was brought to this country through the regular lines in San Isidro, but the smuggler decided to put the little girl in the hood next to the engine, and he had another 4 men in the car. Once he got caught at the border, they processed them, the whole group, but he never mentioned about the girl. He let her in the hood. Not until the next day, the mother called looking for her mother. She heard what happened. Then the officers ran to the jar, and they found the little girl, 9-year-old, unconscious. Also, she was transferred to the hospital. Thank God she survived. But these people, these smugglers, they don't care about the life of one little girl. They really don't care. Other cases that I've been working, I remember, and they brought a lady. She was 21-year-old. Her husband actually was pimped from Tlaxcala. I don't know, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with what's going on in Tlaxcala. Then it's industrial business for families for generations and generations in Mexico. And he brought her to this country, promised her a better life. But once she was in this country, she forced her to have sex with men in the fields and agricultural fields. Day and again a days, 40, 50 times a day. And when she denied to do it, she told her, she left behind her daughter in Mexico, and she said, "You will never see your daughter." Again, officers did a raid her, and they rescued her. And now she's reunited. And thanks to the collaboration from both countries, they found her daughter in Tlaxcala. They brought her to this country. They provide services, and they were reunited. Then I know it's necessary to increase the collaboration from both countries, because it's something that is happening, but we need to do something to stop. We work direct with the victims. We see how much pain, and from generation and generation, occurs when someone is victim of human trafficking. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And sir, I'd just like to thank Ivanka Trump, who's been such an amazing advocate and support of the victims and raising awareness. Thank you. Now we'd like to turn to Deputy Special Agent in Charge, Anthony Scandivio from New York, who's going to talk about an illegal sex trafficking ring in investigation in New York.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. President. HSI New York, unfortunately, we do a lot of work in the sex trafficking area, especially in the Queens, New York area. One investigation that we did involved young females that were being brought up from Tenancingo, Mexico to Queens, New York area. The coercion and the abuse begins in Mexico, where these traffickers approach these young, vulnerable women to either convince them that to come to America for the better life, maybe sometimes even date them, become their boyfriends, or even marry them, luring them to the United States. The women talk about how they're brought across the border. One describes being put down, face down in a raft and pulled across on a rope. One driven in the back of a truck, in the back of a flatbed truck, or in the middle of the night crossing the border into a vehicle or taken to a safe house. They think their journey, the rough part of the journey is over, but little do they know once they reach Queens, New York, that's when their true horror begins, where they're abused, beaten, maybe not fed, all for the trafficker to take over their minds and to force them into this life of prostitution. For us, thank God for the great work of the Border Patrol. He interdicted one of these individuals. He had some females with him. From that little bit of information, we were able to uncover over 12 victims in New York, 2 of which were minors when they came across the border by this trafficking organization. And like Ms. Tucker stated, these poor women were asked to service 15 to 40 men a day for as little as $40. The organization was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, which is being funneled back to Mexico. Doing this type of work for us at HSI is the most rewarding work that we could ever do, because you're saving a life, you're saving a victim, and it's making the public aware of this that's out there. We did a bilateral takedown with the Mexican authorities where we arrested 5 of the individuals in Mexico, 3 of the individuals in New York. They were recently sentenced in January of this year, ranging from 8 to 25 years for the trafficking of these 12 victims to the New York area.
And mostly coming through the border.
Yes.
It's incredible. Incredible.
We'd like to turn it over to Joel. Joel's going to talk about Operation Safe Haven. This was a ring that was operating from Georgia to Texas, sir.
Mr. President, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
My name is Joel Roundtree. I've been a special agent for approximately 16 years now. And it's just how we work a variety of cases. And I submit to some of the most important ones we work are these trafficking cases. They allow us to not only make a difference in these people's lives and the victims' lives, but also it really puts some bad guys in jail. So one of these particular cases is Operation Safe Haven. I'm out of Savannah, Georgia office, Homeland Security, and we uncovered a sex trafficking circuit there that was operating in Georgia and also in 9 other states, including North Carolina and Texas. They had recruiters, very similar to what we've heard here today already, operating in foreign countries, and would lure these girls, mainly uneducated and from poor backgrounds, into the United States with the American dream that so many people have. And when they get here, it's really a nightmare. These victims that we interviewed as a result of our case told us, and I'll just use their verbiage, that they were taken and broken in houses prior to being put on this 20 brothel circuit that we were able to take down at the end. They described how they would be forced to service up to 30 men per day at these brothels, where they'd work for 1 week, and then at the end of their week, they were transferred to the next one. And it was just an endless circuit that they stayed on. We conducted investigations for approximately 18 months. We deployed a variety of investigative tools, mobile tracking devices, covert cameras. All this led to wiretap affidavits where we intercepted communications occurring over telephone utilized by members of the organization. That in turn led us to a federal indictment in the District of Georgia of 40 individuals. And they ranged at every level of this organization, from the customers that were at the brothel to the transporters to the traffickers. We were also able to arrest 36 of those while rescuing 15 of the victims out of these brothels. They were provided services by our victim assistant coordinators in their areas, including food, clothing, shelter, and the like. So we considered it pretty successful.
Great job. I've heard you do a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joel. Now we'd like to turn to Carl, and sir, this is particularly horrific, what Carl is going to describe. There are some parts of this that are law enforcement sensitive, so he will keep it at the appropriate level. But what he will describe is the child recycling ring that we have previously talked about. This is a crime, sir, where smugglers take children and they bring them again and again across the border to enable other criminals to enter our border under the loopholes in our laws. So, Carl, please.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. President. As you know, 2008 of October was the first time we ever had more family units than single adults apprehended. So the family unit issue has become something of a crisis for us. In Yuma, Arizona, we were catching groups of Guatemalans, family units, turning themselves into Border Patrol, crossing around the fence ends. And I just started looking into it and found that some of the sponsors, after they were released, were the same person, the same address, the same phone number. So they reached out to HSI in Charleston, South Carolina, where these people were going. HSI looked into it, said, yeah, there's something going on here. Why don't you come out and do this case together? They went up to Charleston, followed a group that actually got released. They were picked up by the sponsor. Immediately after that, the smuggler pulled over and put a bag of trash in a dumpster. Agents recovered that. Inside was their ankle bracelet, their legal documents, already discarded by these sponsors, which ended up being a smuggling organization. They investigated this case, were able to tie this back to a larger group that was smuggling Guatemalans into South Carolina and other places. Out of this, they were able to get 8 indictments and 11 warrants served, resulting in 24 illegal aliens apprehended. And one of the indictments was a woman who was being paid $1,500 a child to take the children back to Guatemala who were not part of actually the family unit. So she claimed to doing this 13 times. And so we found out they were recycling these children. They would bring them up, smuggle them part of family group, recycle them back to Guatemala, put them in another family group, and come back out. So this was, obviously exploitation of these children.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And now we'd like to turn over to Amy Allen, sir. She is an ICE victim advocate. I had the pleasure of hearing a brief from her a couple weeks ago. She is a very powerful part of what we do to help the victims and survivors. And I'd love for her to give you a little bit about what she does.
Thank you.
As working with HSI in Division 4, there's a component there called the Victim Assistance Program. And I'm part of that, along with 26 other victim advocates that sit in all of our offices. As a forensic interviewer, my job is to investigatively interview alongside with an agent a victim of human trafficking and child exploitation. I've done over 6,000 interviews in my career. This is all I've done for 25 years. I think when we sit here and we talk about the rescue of victims, our minds turn to how that actually happens. And with HSI's investigative efforts, a lot of our leads to seek these rescues come from financial institutions, the community, schools, and our local law enforcement partners. These women don't necessarily have access to 911. These women don't always identify as a victim based on the coercion and the manipulation that's being done by their traffickers. If we had access, or if they had access to 911, obviously we would serve them quicker, but we're identifying them and then really wrapping services around them in order to, if you will, bring them to Team America. We want these victims to be stabilized. We want them to be healthy enough to allow us access to investigative information that they can provide so that we can prosecute the offenders and the controllers and the traffickers that are keeping these women working and laying down 20, 30, 40 times a day. So my job is to work alongside the agent when we identify this victim and, again, make sure that that victim is interviewed in a way that's not blaming. We certainly don't want to ask victims of human trafficking, how many men did you have sex with each day? We want those women to be met with non-blaming language, such as how many men had sex with you. This is not their fault, no matter what they look like, no matter how they're dressed. Our idea of them or what our community thinks of them when they're being controlled and coerced into this kind of an environment, it's our job to help identify that and then, like I said earlier, to rescue them. So we look for additional support all the time in our program because, again, the outreach that we do to the community and to the people that are really have their eyes and ears there to identify them is important to us. Our Blue campaign that is run by HSI and ICE, the slogan is hidden in plain sight. And I think that's such an important slogan to have because these women are among us. Obviously, when you talk about the Super Bowl, we talk about women that are there. There's other people there that need their eyes and ears to help identify that, but they are hidden in plain sight. And so our outreach efforts and the victim assistance efforts that we take every single day to help identify them and support them really will bring to pass additional prosecutions and support for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And finally, still in for Jim, at the appropriate level, is going to tell us a little bit about how technology plays a very important role here. I'm extraordinarily proud of what HSI and ICE bring to the table in terms of their investigations. So please, Jim.
Mr. President, thank you for having me. I want to talk about HSI's role in using technology to fight these types of crimes. We're definitely a world leader in applying technology and in doing victim-centric investigations. I founded our HSI's Child Victim Identification Program and Laboratory back in 2012. I've dedicated my career to identifying and rescuing victims of these horrendous crimes. In doing so, we apply several different pieces of technology. I actually have some demonstrations here for you. So one of the things that we do quite often, and what you see here, is a sanitized image of an offender's hand abusing a victim that we've removed from this image, but in that image, we were able to pull the fingerprint of the subject from that image and thusly identify that subject through the fingerprint. We routinely do this now.
If I can interrupt, Jim, that's even though the fingers are not facing the picture.
Correct.
So the technology enables them to pull the prints from the photograph.
So another thing that we do often are comparisons. So after the fact, after we've identified and rescued the victim, usually And we have imagery, again, depicting, we have a lot of hands in our imagery. So this is a case of having individuals' hand from the abuse imagery and then having exemplar images from a search warrant photo and using the dermatological markings from that person to be able to draw the inference that it is the same person. And so we do a lot of comparisons, and pretty much anything that can be photographed or depicted in imagery or video, we can do a comparison of, as long as we have an exemplar. In this case here, this is use of some creative technology, but also some external expertise. So here we have a child depicted in an outside environment. That child is horrifically abused in imagery and video that we have seized, as well as some of the non-abuse imagery. So what we did is we sanitized her away from the image, so we just remove her using different image editing tools. And what we did here, we noticed that there's some plant life, there's flora and fauna. In the bottom right, in the red circle, is what's called a dwarf palm. We then, with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, a strong partner of ours, we submitted this image to the Smithsonian Institute, and an expert in flora and fauna was able to tell us that that plant is only going to be in the areas in green that you see on the map here, primarily Southwest United States and Florida. Using other imagery from that, there was a playground. We worked with the playground manufacturers and with certifying bodies of playgrounds throughout the United States. And through that, we're able to identify that that specific playground was just outside of Houston, Texas. That allowed us to focus on a specific neighborhood in Houston, Texas. And within hours, we identified that child and apprehended the offender and rescued that child from horrific and ongoing abuse. The rest of my briefing is law enforcement sensitive, sir.
Okay, that's fine, Chief. Thank you very much. You do a great job. We appreciate it. Kellyanne, do you have anything to say?
Sir, thank you so much, and Secretary Nielsen and Ivanka Trump for just convening us and allowing the press to come in, because so many times I just think Americans are not hearing the basic facts and figures, not appreciating the tragedy that so many of these young victims endure day in and day out, and really the very brave and important work of the men and women around this table and all that they represent, all the people that they represent. Sir, coming fast on the heels of the largest seizure of fentanyl by the Border Control in our nation's history. Yes, through a port of entry, but that's what we know about. It's all the things, as you hear here, that we don't know about. The perilous journey that people are taking, that they're forced into. And I think this is exactly why you're asking for a physical barrier as the centerpiece of a larger immigration reform package. Something that people cannot drive through, walk around, crawl under, or climb over. Something that keeps the likes that we've heard today out, keep them on that side of the border, or let them come legally. Keep the drugs out in human trafficking. We want these young girls and boys to have a better life, and it's not going to happen if people feel like they can just drive them over the border and into Queens, New York, as you heard today. So thank you very much for your leadership. I really hope the Democrats will see this as a nonpartisan issue, looking for bipartisan solutions.
That would be nice. Ivanka?
Well, I think we heard some incredibly powerful stories today. I do think for so many people, this is viewed as an international issue. And to hear the stories around this table and to realize that this is happening in our country. This is happening every day, whether it's Atlanta around a major sporting event like the Super Bowl, or whether it's just through the course of the day. This is very much an American issue as well as an international issue. Timothy, as we were both on the Hill championing for the passage of anti-trafficking legislation last year, I met with the young girl that you mentioned. And nobody can meet with a survivor and not be deeply moved and feel deeply passionate about the issue of human trafficking. So I'm so grateful for the work of the NGOs and law enforcement community. Thank you, Secretary Nielsen, for all that you're doing on this front. And of course, thank you, Mr. President, for highlighting this issue, because it is the gravest of human rights violations.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everybody. It's a big issue and a very important issue. We're going to strengthen up our southern border. That should have been done 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And now you have problems even with, I understand yesterday, even People from Venezuela want to come through. Everybody wants to come through. Part of it is the success of our country, but we're going to keep our country successful. And we want people to come in. It's so important to say. We need people. We have a lot of companies moving in. A lot of companies are moving back into the United States that never thought they'd be moving back, and we need people. You see that with the jobs numbers. We really need people. But it has to be through a legal process and a process of really of merit. But we do want people coming into our country. They have to come in legally. I just want to thank everybody for being here. What you go through is incredible, and the job you do is incredible. Few people could do what you do. And we want to try and make it easier for you, or another way you could this way handle more of the incredible work. Because no matter what we do, it's not going to stop, but we can reduce it incredibly by tremendous numbers. So I just want to thank everybody for being here, and we're very proud of you, very proud of the job you do. Thank you very much. And Madam Secretary, thank you very much. Really great.
Mr. President?
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, why not just go ahead and do the National University now?
Well, we're building the wall now. Yeah, we're building the wall. People don't understand that. They're starting to learn. We're spending a lot of money that we have on hand. It's like in a business, but we have money on hand, and we're building. I would say we will have 115 miles of wall, maybe a little bit more than that very shortly. It's being built. Some of it's already been completed, and
all right, folks, so we have footage from inside the venue where President Trump is going to be delivering his massive speech, folks. This rally is packed, not only out inside, but also outside of the venue. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys probably saw that picture that I put up. But yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. I put a side-by-side comparison of the President Trump rally and the Beto O'Rourke rally. And there is just absolutely no comparison, folks. It's pretty comical how they want to make it seem like it was such a huge, massive rally that Beto O'Rourke was going to do to counter President Trump's rally and all that stuff. And it just literally right now, if you see it, it basically, a slap to the face of him. It was crazy. It's just... I'm going to say probably around 20, 25 people actually showed up to that so-called rally. But let me just get this ready for you folks as we get ready for President Trump to be coming out soon. Give me a second here while I get everything ready for you. And again, the president is in Texas, and we're going to be putting it up on your screen. There it is, folks. Please share the live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Reddit, all of those social media sites. Right now, they're just waiting for the president to come out soon, and we'll go on from there. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice, and we'll go on from there. Thank you so much. Oh, also, really quick, let me turn off this music before we continue. If you guys share the rally on Facebook or Twitter, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for all of the hard work and for all of your support and stuff like that. So if you guys share the stream on Facebook and Twitter, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you. So yeah, folks, I'll see you guys on the chat. All right, folks, stand by as we get everything ready to go. You're going to see a screen that says live stream starting soon. So give me a second while I get all of this situated for everyone. Again, thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. Give me a second as I get everything ready to go for you folks. Trying to give you guys the best experience like always. Press 1 on the chat if you guys actually saw the picture I put up of the Beto O'Rourke massive rally according to the Democrats. Massive. Even though it's only like 5 people. Massive. So, press 1 on the chat if you guys saw that. I think it's very, very funny how they were trying to inflate the numbers. And another thing that I saw that they did was that they were zooming in to the front. And making it seem like the background or, you know, like the people that were actually facing him was a lot of people, but it was just really zoomed in to where the people that were, you know, playing the instruments and stuff, you know, trying to pump the people up. It got zoomed all the way in and you just see like a little group of people that to make it seem like it was big. It was really, really crazy to see. But the president should be coming out very, very soon. If you guys are sharing the stream on Facebook and Twitter, thank you so much. I'll give you guys a quick shout out in just a few minutes.
Always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Down off the games on its run. For wherever we go, you'll always know that the army goes rolling along.
It seems that this side of where President Trump had the rally, the internet connection is really, really bad. And even the mainstream media at the Beto O'Rourke rally is also having issues with the internet connection. So as of right now, it looks good. Once the president comes out, we hope that everything is perfect. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit. If you're part of the groups on Facebook and Twitter and Gab and Reddit, then make sure you guys share it on there too. Thank you so much for your continued support. All right, folks, I'm going to be giving some shout outs here. So give me a second. And we have Kaylin. I hope I said that right. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have Monica. And we have Dag. Thank you so much. A tweet a day. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. We also have Dave. We also have Verminator. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. We have David Gray. We have Joyce Chandler. We have, let's see, L3. Thank you so much. L3 Patriot. I'm sorry. Melmans. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. I'm sorry, Barbie G. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Nikki Silvers. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have John Anthony Munoz. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We have Q Crush. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. X Camus. I hope I said that right, but thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. It's kind of like, I'm trying to make sure I'm giving the right people a shout out because there's so many people sharing different channels of this live stream. So thank you so much to Chris and also Patriot are Us. Thank you so much to Bevlin. And also thank you so much to Bonnie. We have Anna and Tanya. Ragin' Cajun, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Edward Jolene, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have Truth Prevails and Gregory. We also have Based Lady. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing the live stream on social media. Let's make this a little bit easier, not only for me, but for everyone involved. If you guys are sharing this live stream on Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag GSTLive. Again, that's GSTLive. And that way I know 100% that the people that I'm giving a shout out to are the ones that are sharing this live stream. That'll make it a little bit easier on me. And yeah, so I appreciate that people are sharing the live streams of everyone online because that helps out. It helps reach more people, right? We're trying to help the president spread the message. We're trying to make sure that we cover the streams and the rallies that the mainstream media does not want to cover. So if you guys want to share our live stream, if you guys can help us on Twitter by putting hashtag GST Live, that way I'll give you guys a quick shout out. And I'm not giving shout outs to people that are sharing other streams instead of this one. And I miss yours. So I do not want to do that. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing the live stream on social media. Right now we're playing a little bit of music as the president arrives at the venue where he's going to deliver his first speech, his first Trump rally of 2019, his first Trump rally of the 2020 election. So this is a campaign rally for 2020. So this is very, very first one for the 2020 election. Can you guys believe that, folks? It seems like only yesterday that we were doing rallies for the 2016 presidential election. Now we're going to 2020. Don't forget that next November of 2020, that's when we're going to be having to go out to the polls and elect the president once again for another 4 years. So that's what the president is coming out right now to give a speech to, and also about the ongoing back and forth regarding the wall. As you guys can see, there's a new slogan up there. Finish the wall. That's what it says. That's a new slogan that the president is going to be selling merchandise for soon, according to the campaign. So I don't know if he's going to be putting it on hats and shirts and stuff, but all I know is that that's the new slogan that they're using is finish the wall. And yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. I'll see you guys on the chat. I'll give more shout outs in just a few minutes. All right, folks, I apologize that I didn't see all of the super chats that we've been getting, and I apologize for that. But, you know, I got to be transparent and 100% honest, folks. This is a one-man operation when it comes to streaming these things from my perspective, from here at the office. So I have to make sure that, you know, all the chat is going good, the rally's going well, we're getting the right feed from the camera guy, everything like that. So the whole thing is not a one-person operation. Just the whole streaming on YouTube part is a one-man operation. And I'm trying to make sure that the stream is perfect, that YouTube is not going to shut us down, that the notifications are going out and stuff like that. So I apologize so much for not checking the chat and with all these super chats. But thank you so much to Chris, and also thank you so much to NF. I know there was more super chats here, and I'm going to try to find them and give you guys a quick shout out because, you know, you guys help us so much. But I apologize if I did not say thank you for the super chats. I apologize for that. And I'm working on it, folks. I'm working on it to make sure that everything on this channel works a lot better, works a lot, you know, a lot smoother and stuff like that. So it's an ongoing process. Again, we're not this huge company that, you know, that has tons and tons of workers. We have very dedicated people here, folks. We have very dedicated camera guys. We have very dedicated mods. We have very dedicated writers on our website. You know, the journalists on our website. So, you know, we're just a very, very, very small group. Okay, so we tried our best. And again, I'm going to check out all of the super chats, and I'm going to give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for your support. If you'd like to help out Golden State Times, maybe not by super chat, maybe not by donations or anything like that, but you want to help out in another way, sharing this live stream is the best way to do it. So thank you so much for your consideration. If you are new to this channel and you guys, you know, this is the type of content that we do, especially now in the election season. So we encourage you to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you so much. All right, so I'd like to give a quick shout out here to Chris. We have Chris here, and we also have, give me 1 second here, we have Hitachi, and we also have David Gray, Chris Magar, and NF. Thank you so much for your continued support. So give me a second here. I need to press 1 on the chat if you guys would like me to slow it down a little bit. I think I'm going to be able to slow down the chat. But it looks like the president has touched down, I believe, or he's about to touch down. We're going to get confirmation of that right now, so it should start very, very soon, folks. Make sure you guys please share the live stream, and thank you so much to everyone that is helping us out through Super Chat. All right, folks. So we do have confirmation that the president has touched down in El Paso, and he's on his way to the venue. So make sure you guys tune in and stay here at Golden State Times. And if you guys already shared the live stream, thank you so much for your continued support. If you haven't yet, or you just joined us, please share the live stream on social media. Thank you so much. I'd like to give a shout out to Patty. Thank you so much, Patty, for your support through Super Chat. Patty says, keep up the good work. You're doing great. Thank you so much, Patty. We do it for you. We do it for every single one of you out there, all of our subscribers, everyone that's coming through, everybody that's new to the channel. We're doing it for you folks. We have no reporter, no anchors, no people telling you how to think, nothing like that, folks. This is all straight raw footage from the venue where President Trump is having his Make America Great Again rally in El Paso, Texas. He's going to be talking about the wall. He's going to be talking about the government shutdown. He's going to be talking about Beto O'Rourke that has a counter rally across the way with only 10 people there. He's going to be talking about the caravans that are going to be coming up. He's going to be talking about a bunch of things. But at the end of the speech, we're not going to come up here and tell you what he said. You're going to see it for yourself because you folks, every single one of you on the chat is extremely smart enough to listen to it for yourself and to make your own decision and to make your own conclusion. That's what we do here at Golden State Times because we know you're winners. We know you're smart and you are our +1. Don't forget that. Every single event that we stream here at Golden State Times, you, the viewer, are our +1. We want to put a situation where you are in attendance to this, where you are there live watching this in real time because you are our guest, our +1.
God bless Texas. In just a few minutes, the state of Texas will be proud to welcome back the President of the United States. In just a few minutes, the great city of El Paso will be proud to welcome the President of the United States. And the men and women here understand basic common sense principles. We understand that low taxes and low regulations produce lots and lots of jobs. We understand that 1,000 people a day are coming to the state of Texas because Texas is where the jobs are. We look back over the last 2 years of an historic tax cut, of cutting job-killing regulations, and we have the lowest unemployment in 50 years. We have the lowest African American unemployment ever recorded. We have the lowest Hispanic unemployment ever recorded. Now, for whatever reason, our friends in the media don't like to tell you that. They don't like to focus on the fact that all across the country, wages are going up. And the #1 state for families' wages increasing is the great state of Texas. You know, the media doesn't like to tell you that in the last 2 years, over 4 million people have come off of food stamps. Have gone from being dependent on the government for the basic needs of life to having the dignity of having a job. And you know what Texans understand? That's not an abstract figure. That's not just on a pie chart. Those are 4 million men and women that come home each night, look their kids in the eye, put food on the table, not food that was given to them, but food that they worked for, and they have the self-respect of working towards the American dream. The people of Texas understand freedom works. And when it comes to immigration, we understand something very, very simple. It is time to build the wall. Now in Washington, Democrats have suddenly discovered walls are terrible things. By the way, the last I checked, every one of those Democratic politicians has a lock on their front door. And we've seen all across the country, we saw in San Diego, where some of the highest illegal crossings in the country were happening, and then they built a wall and the crossings plummeted. We saw in El Paso, where there was high traffic of illegal crossings, we built a wall and the crossings plummeted. And now we've seen the highest traffic crossing point is now further south in the Rio Grande Valley. It's not complicated what we need to do, which is stop the human traffickers, stop the drug traffickers, and build the wall. And let me say something that our friends in the media never seem to want to convey. In Texas, we welcome legal immigrants. There is a right way to come to this country, which is you stand in line, you follow the rules, and you come here seeking the American dream. In 1957, that's how my dad came to Texas. At age 18, with nothing, with $100 in his underwear, he couldn't speak English, but he came here as a legal immigrant, coming to Texas and seeking freedom. This is basic common sense. This is protecting our communities, protecting our families, protecting our country. And I say to the Democrats in Washington, let go of the hate. Let go of the anger. Stop sitting there as you did on the State of the Union, arms crossed, refusing to applaud for low unemployment. To the Democrats in Washington, the path forward is not open borders and socialism. The path is securing the borders, protecting our nation, defending freedom, more jobs, more opportunity, and more hope going forward. So let me say, I love you, El Paso. I'm proud to be back. And in just a few minutes, all of us are going to welcome the 45th President of the United States.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
All right, folks, I want to give a quick thank you to Curtis and Neil for your support through Super Chat. I apologize to everyone else that was giving Super Chat while Ted Cruz was giving his really electrifying speech. He's doing an okay job when it comes to him speaking out both in committee, on the Senate floor, and at these speeches and Trump rallies. So he's doing a very good job. Maybe he learned from 2016 that he needs to be a little bit more outspoken and not as reserved as he was before when it came to issues. So it looks like now he's pretty heated when it comes to certain issues like border wall and immigration and stuff like that. Stuff that he knows that his own people of his state are very, very interested in. So I think he's doing a very good job. Press 1 on the chat if you guys think that Ted Cruz is doing a good job, speaking out regarding these issues. So press 1 on the chat if you guys think that Ted Cruz is doing a good job. All right, folks, I have a couple more names here of Super Chats. We have Dorota Anderson. Thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. We also have Tiana Foster and John Flynn, Andrew Berrigan, Ben. And we also have Sigarlita. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. Double D, Blue Ridge Pepper, Mudfish, Neil Patrick, like I said, Curtis Rock, and Glamorous Antho. Thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. It looks like we have someone else coming out. I'm going to deliver a quick speech before the president arrives. Here we go. Oh, it's Don Jr., folks. It looks like it's Don Jr. Here we go.
Wow. Man, I love being in Texas. It's been a while since I was here last weekend. Not political, that was just fun in the woods with some buddies and some machine guns, but we had a good time anyway. See, when you're from the People's Republic of New York, it's nice to come here and experience a little bit of freedom. And my father couldn't have said it any better the other night at that incredible State of the Union when he said, "America will never be a socialist country." USA, USA, USA. You know, if you were at the 50-person Beto rally down the road and you chanted that, I'm just kidding. The media's gonna say I grossly exaggerated down. It was about 200 people, right? If you chanted USA at that rally, man, I don't know what would happen to you, but it wouldn't be good.
I'd have been more impressed if he had the guts to go do his rally over on the Juarez side, on the other side of the wall. But he didn't, of course, because we all know that walls work, guys. You saw what it did here. You see what it does everywhere. You see our politicians hiding behind armed guards and walls. Why can't we have them to protect our own people? Honestly, as an American, it makes me so proud to be here. To hear real patriots. None of this nonsense we see from the left. Because, you know, in reality, they hate Trump much more than they like America. The left would rather see America fail than to succeed with Trump at the helm. But I got news for them. Despite all their nonsense, there's a better word for it, but I'll get hell for it. Hey, I didn't say it, but I'm not going to argue with you. For 2 years, they've been pursuing their witch hunt. But they got to keep the narrative alive. You know why? They need it to be true. So desperately, they need it to be true. Because they don't want someone from the outside. Someone who will challenge the establishment. Someone who will actually fight for real Americans for a change. They don't want that. Because in 2 years of Trump, they actually have wins for the American people. How about this? How about name? Name one. Just one. I'll even let the media respond, because, you know, they're not on our side. How about name one economic metric where we are not better off today than we are under failed Obama's presidency? Name one. Now, quiet down for a second, because I don't hear anything. Because there isn't one. There is not one metric where we are not better off today because of Donald Trump's policies. Okay? It was funny, when we were doing some campaigning around the midterms, I went around and I heard Obama get on TV and he tried to take credit for the economy. He'd say, well, remember where that started. I was on an interview, I think, that night or so, and I said, Obama claiming the economy was the stupidest statement in the history of both politics and economics. And that's a bold statement. Okay? A lot of people have said a lot of stupid things. But everyone knows that the failed policies of over-regulation, hyper-taxation, a general sentiment of you didn't build that hatred towards business and entrepreneurship and the American spirit that we witnessed for 8 years, they hate that that's gone. And that's why even today, you have the highest consumer confidence recorded in recent and, frankly, long-term history. Because we are winning, folks. The left at this point, you know what they are? They're like a caricature of themselves. I see the Green New Deal. Yeah, we're gonna ban airline travel. We're gonna ban the internal combustion engine. We're gonna let people who just don't wanna work, we're gonna take care of them anyway. And it's all gonna pay for themselves. What planet are they on? What planet are they on? Because it ain't Earth. But what's even better is all of the Democratic frontrunners, they're jumping on it. Oh, I need to be a part of this. They're all adapting it. So they're taking the platform which has now been ridiculed mercilessly by everyone, they're taking the platform of a freshman congressman who 2 weeks ago did not know the 3 branches of government. I don't know about you folks. I don't know about you. But I don't want to stake my children or their children after them's future on that kind of lunacy. It doesn't work. It's why Texas is doing so well, because you still believe in and still have some common sense. But it's hard, guys, because we live in a world where common sense ain't so common anymore. I'm watching Bob Menendez today say, illegal aliens convicted of DUIs, they should just be released because God forbid we get rid of criminals. Think of these policies. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, but I know him pretty well. You'll hear more about those later on from someone even better at this than me. But I really just wanted to come out and say thank you. Thank you for being in this fight. Thank you for making it known how many deplorables there are out there. Because I love that fight in the Texans that I know. It's why most of my friends are from here and not from where I live in New York City. But you know what? You guys espouse what Donald Trump believes, and frankly, what Donald Trump has shown conservatives. Guys, you don't just have to take the L. You don't have to take the loss when the other side doesn't like your policy. When the other side doesn't want you to win, when the other side and their media lackeys just say whatever it is that they want, you don't have to do that. When you see a governor, a Democratic governor of a state, talking about not even late-term abortion at this point, but post-term abortion, you know what post-term abortion is, right? That means it's a baby and it's alive. But we're going to get rid of it now. When you hear these being the policies pushed by the leading frontrunners on the other side, you have to wonder where the hell their moral compass is. Because I don't think they have one. They're fighting more for illegal aliens than they are for the American people. Why is that? Because they need their votes. They need you to be dependent on them. Their policies are not of freedom, of choice, or anything. Their policies are of dependence. They need you to need them. They need you to come back to the trough. It's why they do anything to damage the institutions of liberty, of conservatism, of freedom, of entrepreneurship, that have made this country the greatest nation in the world. And you know what I love? I love seeing some young conservatives, because I know it's not easy. Right? Keep up that fight. Bring it to your schools. You don't have to be indoctrinated by these loser teachers that are trying to sell you on socialism from birth. You don't have to do it. Because you can think for yourselves. They can't. So, again, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in this country, in freedom, in America, in the Constitution. All these things the other side seems to forget or certainly want to, because when I see the response here, when I see this crowd, I know that America is live and well. And we're going to give them hell in 2020. Thank you very much, Texas! Thank you!
drugs, terrorists, violent.
All right, folks, I'm going to give a couple more shout outs before the president comes out. He's set to come out in just a few seconds. Informative info, newly awake patriot, Johnny, Captain G, John, Stacy, and Lisa. Thank you so much for all of your support through Super Chat. Also, thank you so much for everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit. If you guys like our coverage so far, then make sure you guys subscribe and click the notification bell. We do everything, folks, from White House press briefings to the State Department, the Pentagon. We cover breaking news, Trump rallies, everything, folks. So if you guys like what you see and you find it informative and fun on the chat, then we encourage you to subscribe. One thing that Don Jr. said that pretty much resonates with us is where he said, think for yourselves. And don't be afraid to think for yourselves. That's what we tell our viewers here on Golden State Times. We don't have no anchors telling you how to think. We don't have any pundits telling you what the president just said when you saw it yourself. We just stream all raw footage. And we know that you guys are 100% smart and you're winners. So we don't tell you how to think. You can think for yourself. Don't be afraid to do the research. Don't be afraid to think for yourself. You are our guest, our +1 to these events. Thank you so much. All right, folks, I'm going to be giving a couple more shout outs here. Let me turn off the music real quick so there'll be no background noise. All right, thank you so much to Rick Almighty, Rebecca, Mr. Extravaganza. I apologize if I said that wrong. Blue Ridge Prepper. We also have Edna Rapp, Mark, Desolate AK, Ragoff, Mr. Jack 4762, Polly, NV Strawlight, the God of Cringe, Maureen, Rico, and N. Tidge. Thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. I saw that someone had a question for me. If you have any questions, all you have to do is just email me. It's gent, G as in goat, E-N-T, at goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's gent at goldenstatetimes.com. Just email me and I'll do my best to either help you out, give you information, or, anything like that. Just whatever you need, just send me an email, gent at goldenstatetimes.com. Thank you so much. All right, folks, just really quick, just so you know, once the president comes out, I cannot go on the microphone anymore until he's done. So thank you so much to Desolate AK. Yeah, Desolate AK, thank you so much for your contribution through Super Chat. Any other contributions that happened right before, like starting right now up to when the president is done with his speech, I'll give a thank you after the speech is done. So I cannot stop the president. I cannot block the president from delivering his speech. So I'll give you guys a quick shout out towards the end of the live stream. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, El Paso. Thank you very much. Thank you. I am very, very thrilled to be here in the great state of Texas. Right on the banks of the legendary Rio Grande, where, by the way, I don't know, you heard, right? Today, we started a big, beautiful wall right on the Rio Grande. Right smack on the Rio Grande. I love this state, and I love the people of this state. We've had a great romance together, you know that. It's been a great romance. And we're only getting stronger together. That's what's happening. Wow, look at all the press back. You believe that? This is like the Academy Awards used to be. They've gone down a long way since they started hitting us a little bit, right? They've gone down. That was a long fall, but there they are. Last week, I was honored to stand in the House chamber to deliver the State of the Union. And I asked both parties to come together to choose greatness for America. Since taking office 2 years ago, our economy is now the hottest economy anywhere on earth. Our military, which desperately needed funding, we went $700 billion, and $716 billion is more powerful than ever before. That was not a good situation. It was tired and depleted. Our great warriors were not taken care of. Now they're taken care of again the way they should be. And America is winning again. Isn't that nice? We're fighting for all Americans from all backgrounds, of every age, race, religion, birthplace, color, creed. We're fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for all Americans. And what is it? America first. Remember, it's America first. Our agenda is not a partisan agenda, although some people say it is. Every once in a while it does become that way, right? It's a mainstream, common sense agenda of the American people. It's where we want to be and where we want to go. And despite the fact that the media refuses to acknowledge what we've done and how well we're doing it. A new poll just came out as I was coming on, and it shows, I don't know how you can do this. I don't think I've had a good story in years. I don't get good press. I used to get great press until I decided to run for office. And we have done together an incredible job. And a new poll just came out today. Rasmussen, one of the most respected polls, one of the polls that got the election right. So I have to remember that. You know what the number is? 52% with no good news. Explain that. Explain that. Explain that. How do you get that when you don't get good press? I guess 93% of the stories are negative. No matter what we do, they figure out a way to make it negative. Like, I'll give you a quick example. When I came in, North Korea looks like it was going to war. You know that. It was going to happen, bad things. Now, you have no missile launches, you have no rocket testing, you have no nuclear testing. I have a good relationship, maybe even a great relationship. We have tremendous sanctions on North Korea, but we have our hostages back. We have remains are coming back, the remains. And our presidents have been dealing with North Korea for many, many decades, many, many decades. And on a nuclear way over the last 20, 30 years. And all I hear is, can't you move faster? You know what? I left Singapore 15 months ago. They've been negotiating for 85 years or something. So now their complaint is, what's taking them so long? I heard one of our great geniuses from a previous administration telling me how to negotiate with North Korea when they got taken advantage of like nobody I've ever seen before. So someday, with all of us, this is all of us, and those hats are beautiful, by the way. Someday, true. Someday, they're going to appreciate us all, and I'm going to Vietnam, to Hanoi, in the near future, 27th and 28th of February, to have another summit. And hopefully, we do as well with the second summit as we did with the first. I hope so. Now, we're delighted, and I'm delighted, to be joined this evening by the Texas leaders. You have great leaders, great people, great help to me that are at the forefront of this incredible American revolution. You know, there's never been anything like this in the history of our country. We have to understand that. There's never been. If you would say, as an example, that tonight 69,000 people signed up to be here. Now, the arena holds 8,000. And thank you, Fire Department. They got in about 10. Thank you, Fire Department. Appreciate it. But if you want to really see something, go outside. Tens of thousands of people are watching screens outside. And we were all challenged by a young man who lost an election to Ted Cruz. And then they said, you know what? Hey, you're supposed to win in order to run. By the way, I'm 1 and 1. I'm 1 for 1. Think of it. We had one election, we won. Now we're going to be 2 for 0, and everything's going to be perfect. But a young man who's got very little going for himself, except he's got a great first name. He challenged us. So we have, let's say, 35,000 people tonight, and he has 200 people, 300 people, not too good. In fact, what I would do is I would say that may be the end of his presidential bid, but he did challenge it. So I want to introduce some great people. Your governor, Greg Abbott. Greg. Where is he? Where's Greg? Thank you, Greg. And a great governor and a great friend of mine. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Look at him in the corner. So shy. Thank you, Dan. Great job, Dan. Attorney General Ken Paxton. Thanks, Ken. And Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ken. Great job you do. And we're especially grateful to your wonderful senators, John Cornyn and Ted Cruz. Great senators. And we have a lot of your congressmen and women. We have a lot of them. You're ready, and they're terrific, and they've been with us all the way. Pete Olson. Pete. Thanks, Pete. Thank you, Pete. Michael Burgess. Thanks, Michael. John Carter. Brian Babin. And Randy Weber. Thank you very much. We are in the midst of an economic miracle. That's what's happened. You look all over the world and you study and you see what's going on. You can look at China. We have a team right now in China. They want to make a deal very badly. Those tariffs are costing them a lot of money, and they're going into our treasury. Remember that. We're filling up with billions of dollars. And did you see I haven't been here very long, the trade deficit really went down very big this last month. And people are saying, whoa, I told you so. That's what I do. That's what I do. And we don't want China to have a hard time. Thank you. Thank you. I can only tell you this. We're going to make great deals on trade. We're going to make great deals on military. When we defend another nation that's rich, they have to help us out. Do we agree? They have to help us out. And they're doing it. They're doing it. You saw South Korea? They were paying us $500 million a year. I say, you got to do more. You got to do more. Anyway, now they're up to almost $900 million. That was like on 2 phone calls. I said, why didn't they do this before? They said, nobody ever asked. Nobody asked. You pick up almost $500 million a year. Nobody asked. We're defending rich countries. They've got to help us out, folks. They got to help us out. Sorry. And you know what? They're going to like us more, and maybe more importantly, they're going to respect us. Since the election, we have created 5.3 million new jobs, including more than 500,000 new manufacturing jobs. Remember, manufacturing was dead. They said manufacturing was dead. Previous administration. You'll never have it. You need the magic wand. That's what they said. We found the magic wand. And by the way, those numbers are small compared to what's happening, compared to all of the companies that are moving in. The unemployment. Thank you very much. The unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans have reached the lowest level in the history of our country. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you. You all right? Everything okay? Please? Okay, thank you. And women have filled almost 60% of the new jobs created last year, which were a record number. We passed massive tax cuts for working families, and we canceled a record number of job-killing regulations. That's why your oil and gas is coming back. We eliminated the Obamacare individual mandate. And to give critically ill patients access to life-saving treatments, we did something that they haven't been able to do for a long time. We passed Right to Try. Right to Try. That's an incredible thing, Right to Try. You know, we have the greatest doctors and research in the world. And if somebody was terminally ill, they'd travel to Asia, they'd travel to Europe, they'd travel all over the world if they had the money. If they didn't have the money, they'd just go home. There was nothing they could do. And I said, wait a minute, we have drugs in the pipeline that are showing tremendous progress. If somebody is terminally ill, let's let them have access to our drugs. Let's let them have access. And it's much tougher than you would think, but we got it. And people, you will not understand, nobody understand the life-saving effects. It's incredible what's going on. They are getting better. People are getting better that were thinking they were going to die. It's Right to Try. I love it. I always wondered why we didn't do it before. Now, the people in Texas won't care much about this, but the United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas on Earth. I didn't think you'd care about that. I didn't think Texas would care about that. And listen to this. And Texas oil production is now at the highest level it's ever been. And only for the great oil professionals in the room, we're getting those pipelines approved so fast, you'll be able to practically double up on oil production, oil and gas. Getting approved at record levels and record time. That means more money, more security, and more independence for our country. It's very simple. Another one they said could never get passed. They've been trying to do it for 40 years. We passed VA choice, Veterans Choice. So that now, rather than waiting online for 5 days, for 9 days, for 3 weeks, Where do these people come from? Where do they come from? They go back home to mommy. They get punished when they get home. Now, you really mean finish that wall, because we built a lot of it. Finish that wall. But before we get to the wall, so VA accountability and VA choice. Accountability, we couldn't fire anybody from the Veterans Administration. We couldn't fire anybody. They could treat our veterans badly. We had to take it. Now you get rid of them. And VA choice, they'd wait online for days and weeks. They couldn't see a doctor. Now they go out, they have a choice. They get a private doctor. They have things taken care of, and we pay their bill. They've been trying to get those two things fixed for many, many decades, many years, and we got it fixed. We also passed the Farm Bill for our wonderful farmers, ranchers, and growers. We just got it passed. And that wasn't easy, but we got it passed. We had to do it. Our farmers are great. So we just got that done. Farmers, ranchers, growers. And we passed historic legislation to combat the opioid crisis. Thank you. Is there any place that's more fun to be than a Trump rally? Is there any? You know, they all said, Mr. President, we loved the tone of your State of the Union speech. Some people said it was a great speech. Some people said, really a great speech. I said, but if I ever did that in El Paso, Texas, it wouldn't work here too well. Do you agree? Nice and calm. No, that's not what you're looking for. And this is more fun. This is more fun. And we just signed groundbreaking criminal justice reform into law. Nobody thought that was going to be happening. In my address last week, I asked lawmakers in both parties to cross the aisle and join together for the common good for all Americans. Democrats have to stop being so angry. They're angry. And they've got to start being partners to keep this incredible. Really, look, is this an incredible miracle that's going on? We want to keep it going. Keep it going. And it will keep going. It will keep going. There's so much to celebrate in our country. The economy, the military, so many things we've done scientifically. The world is trying to copy what we've done. They're not going to be able to do it. Not anymore. They were catching up fast. Now they're going in the wrong direction. Unfortunately, many of the Democrats in Congress responded to my call for bipartisan cooperation by instead choosing hey, look, did you ever see anything? Radical resistance. It's the radical left. But maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll change. It all has to do with 2020 and the election. But I really don't like their policy of taking away your car, of taking away your airplane flights, of let's hop a train to California, of you're not allowed to own cows anymore. You know, there are a lot of problems there. A lot of problems. But nobody's ever had this. And by the way, with us, we handle it. No president should ever have to go through what we've gone through in the first 2 years. It's a hoax, it's a disgrace, and it should never be allowed to happen again. A hoax. Just recently, as an example, Senator Richard Burr from the great state of North Carolina, he's chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, and they've been investigating this Russia hoax for 2 years. Think of it. They've interviewed over 200 people. They've studied hundreds of thousands of documents and pages, and Richard just announced that they found no collusion between Donald Trump and Russia. Collusion. The fact is that the real collusion was between Hillary and the Democrats and the other side with Russia. That's where the collusion is. That's starting to make a lot more sense. But that's where the collusion is, with the Democrats and with Russia and with others. And by the way, there's also collusion between the Democrats and the fake news right here. And they know it better than anybody. Too many Democrats are focused on tearing down their opposition instead of building up our country. They're trying to impose some of the most extreme measures and policies ever put forward by our Congress. And by the way, I don't think anybody in this room wants to pay 70, 80, 90, and 95% tax. Does anybody want to pay a 90%? You know, you look at what we've done with jobs, what we've done with the economy, how low your taxes are, the lowest they've been almost from the beginning. Who the hell wants to change what we're doing now? We are a hot, hot country. Last week, they introduced a massive government takeover that would destroy our incredible economic gains. They introduced the so-called Green New Deal. It sounds like a high school term paper that got a low mark. It would shut down American energy, which I don't think the people in Texas are going to be happy with that. It would shut down a little thing called air travel. How do you take a train to Europe? You know, this crazy senator from Hawaii They said, do you like it? Yes, I like it very much. Oh, really? How are we getting to Hawaii on a train? She didn't think about that one, but she's thinking about it. She'll figure it out. They want to take away your car, reduce the value of your home, and put millions of Americans out of work, spend $100 trillion, which, by the way, there's no such thing as $100 trillion. You have to spend $100 trillion. And remember this, no other country except us is going to do it. That's a little problem, too. While the world's real polluters, like China, would get many of our companies and factories, they just move into China, move into other parts of the world. That's the way the system works. Not going to happen, folks. Don't worry. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. 100 trillion. Let's spend 100 trillion. Let's rip down every building in New York City and rebuild it environmentally slightly better. To pave the way for socialism, Democrats are calling for massive tax hikes and the complete elimination of private health care. Many of us have private health care. That means you can stand online for 5 days as you wait for a doctor that is not nearly as talented as your doctor. Remember, you can keep your doctor. Remember that? 28 times. You can keep. That didn't happen. Turned out to be a lie. Hey, where are the fact checkers? You know, some of the most dishonest people in media are the so-called fact checkers. 28 times. You can keep your doctor. That didn't turn out to be what he said. They're coming for your money, and they're coming for your freedom, and it'll never happen, and it won't even come close, folks. Democrats are also pushing extreme late-term abortion. Allowing children to be ripped from their mother's womb right up until the moment of birth. What's that all about? So in Virginia, the governor, he's gotten a little publicity lately. I like him. Keeps us out of the papers. I like him. I'd like to find a few more guys like this one. He almost moonwalked. His wife stopped him. Darling, it would be inappropriate. I want to see somebody try and imitate Michael Jackson in the moonwalk. This would not have been a good scene. His wife saved him. Darling, this would be inappropriate. I think she was right. But the governor stated that he would even allow a newborn baby to come out into the world and wrap the baby and make the baby comfortable and then talk to the mother and talk to the father and then execute the baby. Execute the baby. Incredible. Millions of innocent, beautiful babies are counting on us to protect them, and we will. That is why last week I called on Congress with your great congressman over there. Thank you, fellas. To immediately pass legislation prohibiting extreme late-term abortion. And that certainly is extreme. Many people never even heard. I mean, did you ever hear of anything like this? Democrats must also address the double standard on full display in Virginia. By the way, that state's going to go Republican pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. Because the Democrat Party has never been more outside of the mainstream. They're becoming the party of socialism, late-term abortion, open borders, and crime. This weekend, some Democrats even proposed a measure that would force the release of thousands of criminal illegal aliens, including dangerous felons convicted of rape, sex trafficking, violent assault, and even murder into our country. Can you believe this? Their proposal would put a hard cap on the number of illegal aliens that our brave ICE officers, we love our ICE officers, can detain and thus remove, forcing thousands of criminals to be set free into United States communities. I don't think so, okay? I don't think so. And I want to thank our ICE officers. What they put up with is incredible. And that includes Border Patrol, and that includes law enforcement, let's face it. Law enforcement, we love them. They keep us safe. In the last 2 years alone, ICE officers have made 200, listen to these numbers, 266,000 arrests of criminal aliens, including those charged or convicted of approximately 100,000 assaults, 40,000 larcenies, 30,000 sex crimes, 25,000 burglaries, 12,000 vehicle thefts, 11,000 robberies, 4,000 kidnappings, and 4,000 murders. Killings, murders. We will. If we cut detention space, we are cutting loose dangerous criminals into our country. Slashing ICE detention is the first step of many for the far left. I call them the radical left. We will never abolish ICE. They want to abolish ICE. We're never going to abolish ICE. So let me state very clearly to those pushing this ridiculous and radical agenda, I will never sign a bill that forces the mass release of violent criminals into our country. And I will never abolish or in any way mistreat our great heroes from ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement. Never. We will always stand with those brave men and women. We'll always be with them. We're going to take care of them just like they take care of us. Remember that. Remember that. Now, I have to tell you, as I was walking up to the stage, they said that progress is being made with this committee. Just so you know, we're building the wall anyway. They say that progress has been made with this bill. Just now, I said, wait a minute, I got to take care of my people from Texas. I got to go. I don't even want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. So I don't know what they mean. Progress is being made significant. Now, what did happen is the Democrats were being hit really hard on the concept of releasing criminals into our society. That has not been playing well. So maybe progress has been made, maybe not. But I had a choice. I could have stayed out there and listened, or I could have come out to the people of El Paso and Texas. I chose you. I chose you. So we probably have some good news, but who knows? Who knows? We're setting the stage, folks. You know what it's called, right? It's called We're Setting the Stage. We're setting the table. We're doing whatever we have to do. The wall's being built. It'll continue. It's going at a rapid pace. The Rio Grande. It's happening. Go check it out. We proudly welcome those who come lawfully and support our values in the United States and that want to strengthen our society and help us with all of the companies moving into the United States, moving back. They left us. Now they're moving back, many of them. In some cases, maybe all of them. But they all want to come back because the United States is where the action is. Very simple. Where the action is. And it is, we're most proud of the fact. You look at the car companies, they're moving back. They're going into Michigan. They're going into Pennsylvania. They're going back to Ohio. So many companies are coming back. And by the way, that's why I want people to come in to our country. But they have to come in legally, and they have to come in through merit, so they can help us build our country. Make America great again. Pretty soon, we're going to be singing, Keep America Great. Keep America great. Pretty soon, Congressman, keep America great. We'll have to switch over. Tell me. Campaign sort of started because you have these people that nobody ever heard of. They're all running for office. I said, who is that? Well, that person was a mayor of a city that was defeated. Well, how about Beto? Beto was defeated too, right? But he suffered a great defeat. Watch what the news does tomorrow, though. They won't mention the disparity. They won't mention the disparity tomorrow. They'll say, Beto O'Rourke. That's his last name, right? O'Rourke? Beto O'Rourke had a wonderful rally of about 15 people. Now, when they get honest, when the media starts becoming honest, and maybe they will, because we've done something that's never been done before. We have suffered a totally dishonest media, and we've won, and it's driving them crazy. It's driving them crazy. It's driving them crazy, but look at them. They still come. I've never seen anything like it. But illegal immigration hurts all Americans, including millions of legal immigrants, by driving down wages, draining public resources, and claiming countless innocent lives. You see what's going on, folks. You know what's going on. They give you all of these phony stats. Say, oh, it's the same. It's the same. Not the same. It's a bad situation going on, and we've stopped it. We are taking out thousands and thousands of people from MS-13. We're bringing them the hell out of our country. Thousands. But if we had proper border security, including a very powerful wall, we wouldn't have to work so hard. And it would be a lot safer and a lot better. My administration is committed to ending illegal immigration while modernizing our legal immigration system, which has been in terrible shape for many, many decades, to prioritize the admission of those who can support themselves financially and contribute to our economy, people that come in on merit. Instead of random lotteries and chain migration, that's another beauty. We want a merit-based system for entry. This will improve living conditions for all Americans living here today, both immigrant and U.S. born. Everybody's going to be happy. And we need the people to take care of these companies that are moving. Our unemployment rate, real unemployment, 3.6, 3.7, and going down. Had a little blip because of a thing called the shutdown. But remember this, went up to 4. I said, boy, that's, you know how low 4 is? Do you know anybody else, any other president would have said, please give me 4, please. We had a little blip, went up from 3.7 to 4 just quickly. But you know what? If we didn't do that shutdown, we would not have been able to show this country, these politicians, the world, what the hell is happening with the border. That was a very important thing we did. And the fact is, illegal immigration is a heartbreaking human tragedy. 1 in 3 women is sexually assaulted on the very long and dangerous journey north up to our country. Sex traffickers, these are the worst human beings on earth, exploit our porous border to sell young girls and women into modern-day slavery. You wouldn't even know that. Nobody knows that. And by the way, do you think they come in through the ports of entry? I listen to the Democrats. Let me be nice. Just say the Democrats. I won't be specific. And they say, oh, everything comes through the port. They don't do that. They drive out where there's no barrier, no wall. They make a left. Congratulations, you're in the United States. That's all. If you have 3 women tied up in the back seat of a car, you're not going through, folks, a port of entry where they do look in the back seat, at least, right? Drugs pouring through the border kills tens of thousands of innocent Americans a year, including heroin, meth, cocaine, fentanyl, so many others. They come through the southern border. We have a drug problem over the last 6, 7, 10 years like we have never had before. We can have such a big cut in the numbers, in the percentages, if we get the wall built, if we have a strong wall with other things. But we need the wall, and it has to be built, and we want to build it fast. The number of illegal immigrants crossing our borders is so large that we've nowhere to hold them. We have to build. They want buildings. They want jails. They want these people. How about the word caravan? Caravan. I think that was one of mine, but it looked like a caravan. Where you have thousands and thousands of people coming from Guatemala, from Honduras and El Salvador, and they march up through Mexico. And by the way, if we didn't have walls in those areas, in some cases that we put up, in many cases where we reinforce, in many cases where our great military helped us with barbed wire, you would have people pouring in. They don't pour in. The problem is our laws are so bad that there's no way we can quickly remove them. Other countries say, get out of here. We have to bring them through a court system. We sign their names. They touch our land. We sign them up. We explain to them, please come back in 6 years for court. And only the dumbest people show back up. Nobody ever shows. Nobody comes back in. Like 2%. They go in to our country. The good news is we have great law enforcement, and many of these people, we know where they are. And we're going to get them the hell out. But we have to change our laws. So right now, we have a backlog. You won't even believe this. Other countries don't do this. Somebody walks into our country, we bring them to court. We have now a legal, we need Perry Mason. We have a legal case. Nobody else does that. Other countries say, get out. Can't come in. You're not a citizen of whatever country. We bring them in. So listen to this. Right now, we have almost 900,000 cases. 900,000. How many judges are going to take care of? We're going to have to hire tens of thousands of judges to do that. 900,000 cases. How stupid is this? This was a system put in place by really dumb people, or people that did not have the best interests of our country at heart. And there's no place better to talk about border security, whether they like it or not, because I've been hearing a lot of things. Oh, the wall didn't make that much of a difference. You know where it made a big difference? Right here in El Paso. And I've been watching where they've been trying to say, oh, the wall didn't make that much. Well, you take a look at what they did with their past crimes and how they made them from very serious to much less serious. You take a look at what the real system is. I spoke to people that have been here a long time. They said when that wall went up, it's a whole different ball game. Is that a correct statement? Whole different ball game. I'll give you another example, and I don't care whether a mayor is a Republican or a Democrat. They're full of crap when they say it hasn't made a big difference. I heard the same thing from the fake news. They said, oh, crime actually stayed the same. Didn't stay the same. Went way down. And look at what they did to their past crimes, and look at how they recorded those past crimes. Went way, way down. These people, you know, you think they'd want to get to the bottom of a problem and solve a problem, not try and pull the wool over everybody's eyes. So for those few people that are out there on television saying, oh, it didn't make too much of a difference, it made a tremendous... People from El Paso. It's fake news. It's fake. I'm telling you, it's just fake news. And you know what? You wouldn't even have to know. You can say that automatically without even knowing. It's like... It's obvious. It's common sense. Just a few thousand feet, as an example, from where we stand right now on the other side of the border, it's one of the most dangerous cities in the world, Juarez, Mexico. Well, the people at Juarez agree. Yet, thanks to a powerful border wall in El Paso, Texas, it's one of America's safest cities now. Now, listen to this. So, you're talking a few feet away, right? A few feet. Got a wall. It's a few feet away. Last year, Juarez had 1,200 murders. El Paso, right next door, a few feet away, had 23 murders. That's not good either. But 23 compared to 1,200. Walls work. Actually, there's nothing like them for what we're talking about. We want to stop drugs. We want to stop traffickers. We want to stop criminals from coming in. Walls save lives. Walls save tremendous numbers of lives. The biggest proponents of open borders are rich liberals and wealthy donors. These are hypocrites who oppose security for you while living their entire lives. I do too, to be honest with you. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I also live behind walls, okay? They live behind walls and gates and they have guards all over the place. Me too, because I want to be safe and I want to make America safe, if you don't mind. So security should not belong only to the rich and to the powerful. Safety is the birthright of every American, which is why we must finish the wall. It's happening. Because walls are not immoral, as it was said. Human trafficking is immoral. Drug peddling is immoral. Child smuggling is immoral. Sanctuary cities that get Americans killed, they're immoral. Open borders are dangerous and immoral. My administration has put forward a compromise that really is a compromise, and I hate to even compromise on things like this, but it's showing common sense, it's compassionate, and it's going to solve our problem, and the cost is a fraction. When you look at the drugs that are pouring across from Mexico, if it stopped a small percentage, and it won't, it'll stop a large percentage, it would pay for itself in a matter of weeks. That's the kind of numbers you're talking about. A matter of weeks. And by the way, I hate to say this because we have a very good relationship, but Mexico had the highest number of killings that they've ever had. Almost 40,000 people were murdered in Mexico. Mexico's not too far away, and we need to take care of our people, and we're going to do that, and it's happening a lot faster than anybody thought, and I love that sign. Thank you. What we're proposing includes humanitarian assistance, drug detection at our ports and everywhere else, closing legal loopholes, which is a big problem, and plans for a smart, strategic, see-through steel barrier or wall. Let's go to walls. This wall will be built in the areas identified by border agents as having the greatest need, while safely directing people and commerce to our many lawful ports of entry, which we're beefing up in every way. Structurally, we're beefing up the ports of entry, and mechanically, we have equipment now that can spot drugs. It's incredible stuff. It's expensive. It's incredible. By the way, there is nothing better than a good old-fashioned German Shepherd. It's hard to believe, right? It's true. You know, I was with the people, and they're showing me this incredible computerized stuff and where it goes. I said, could I, because Secret Service took me out to the place and they were showing me these German Shepherds. They're unbelievable. They'll run past all these empty boxes, and one of the boxes has drugs in it deep down in a box. And it comes to a screeching halt, barking at them every time. So I asked the people that sell the machinery at a lot of money. I said, let me ask you a question. This stuff is incredible. I'm really impressed. How does it compare to a German Shepherd? Guy looks at me and goes, sir, honestly, it's not as good. Can you believe it? German Shepherd. Certain types of dogs. Pretty good. You do love your dogs, don't you? I wouldn't mind having one, honestly, but I don't have any time. I don't have time. How would I look walking a dog on the White House lawn? Would that be... right? Sort of not for... I don't know. It doesn't... I don't feel good. Feels a little phony to me. A lot of people say, oh, you should get a dog. Why? It's good politically. I said, look, that's not the relationship I have with my people. We want to have... Yeah, Obama had a dog. You're right. Both parties should come together to finally create a safe and lawful system of immigration. The American people have waited long enough. We must secure the border, pass Kate's Law, end catch and release, shut down sanctuary cities. You know, we need Democrat votes to do that. Deport criminal aliens and keep the coyotes and traffickers and drug dealers the hell out of our country, please. And the Democrats also need to confirm the more than 300 highly qualified nominees who are sitting in the Senate waiting for confirmation, people that have given up their lives to work in the Trump administration, and the Democrats aren't approving them. It's a record. It's total obstruction. It's a record of the history of our country. There has never been. Some people left their job a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, to become an ambassador or to work in one of our many great agencies, and we can't get Schumer and his friends to approve them. It's total obstruction. There's never been anything like it. Very, very unfair. Very unfair to these people. In many cases, seriously, they've left jobs, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting. They're slow walking every single one of them. It's a disgrace. As we fight to protect our borders, we must also protect our newfound prosperity. My administration has taken the toughest ever action to crack down on years of China's abuse And its trade practices have been very unfair. And I have a lot of respect for President Xi, but he's representing China, and I'm representing the United States. So that's it. We're also replacing one of the worst deals ever made, probably the worst trade deal ever done, although I happen to think that the WTO is not so good either. We're replacing NAFTA with a brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement that everybody is loving. Got to get Congress to approve it. We got to get Congress to approve it. We'll get it, I think, done. I mean, there's such obstruction in Congress. You know, they won't even do things that are good for our country now. They would rather have Trump have a loss than get something that's so good for our country. Our farmers are happy. Everybody's happy. And it's going to be jobs. You know what it does? It stops companies from moving out. It makes it very hard economically for companies to say, hey, thanks a lot. We're firing everybody. We're moving to Mexico. Makes it very, very hard. You know, that's been a bone of contention for me for many years. I've seen 25% and more of our automobile business move to Mexico. And it's not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. Unless they want to pay nice, big, fat tariffs to send their cars back into this country. We've achieved, and by the way, tariffs have had an incredible effect. Just ask the folks in China, how are we doing with tariffs? You ask. And you ask, how are we doing in our negotiations? The fact is, and I say it openly, either they treat us fairly or they have to pay for the privilege of coming in and taking our wealth and taking our jobs. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. And if you look back at our country when we were very rich, when we had no debt, when we had no problems economically, you take a look. 1888, the great tariff debate. You know what the debate was about? Our country had so much money, they had to debate what the hell to do with all the money, because tariffs were bringing in a fortune into the United States. So, at a minimum, countries are negotiating with us very seriously because of the fact that they don't want to have to pay to come in and take advantage of our country. That's at a minimum. Check it out. 1888. Have the press check it out. They'll say, Donald Trump said 1888. We've achieved the largest decline in drug prices in 46 years, prescription drugs. And I'm asking Congress to work with me to make prescription drugs affordable for every American family. We just got the largest decrease in drug prices. Think of that. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Because we have middlemen that take care of a lot of people for a lot of years, these middlemen, and the drug companies. But even worse, the middlemen. And we're cutting the middlemen out. They're not going to like me very much. They made a lot of money. But think of that. The first time in 46 years. And now we're going to phase 3. We did 1 statutorily. We did 2 statutorily. Now we go to phase 3. We're getting your drug prices down. We're embarking on bold initiatives to defeat AIDS. Who knew that? We have medicines now that work wonders on AIDS. We're looking to be AIDS-free in not many years as a country. And maybe help also the world. The world. So we want to defeat AIDS, and we want to defeat childhood cancer. We've made tremendous strides. Tremendous strides. In the Middle East, our brave warriors have liberated virtually 100% of ISIS in Iraq and Syria. Now, you don't hear that from these people. Now, we've taken back, soon it'll be announced soon, maybe over the next week, maybe less, but it'll be announced very soon. We'll have 100%. When I took over this country, it was a mess. And if I wouldn't have been elected, you know, I have so many people, I was just walking up, and every time it happens, sir, thank you. Thank you very much. This guy, he's like a monster. No, it's true. These people, This guy, he's like a monster. He's like this monster football, a big, strong guy. He says to me, he says, thank you very much. I don't know what they're saying, but that's okay. No, he's this big, strong guy, and he's crying. And he said, I'm walking up, Mr. President, and it happens all the time. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I said, for what? He said, you've saved our country. Our country was going in the wrong direction. You've saved our country. Thank you. I've had so many people say that. So many people. You know, the truth is, though, I didn't save our country. We're now heading in the right direction. It's very tough because we have so many things we're fighting, including these people, but so many people that we're fighting. So many people that are either foolish or ill-intentioned. But, you know, I didn't save our country. You know who saved our country? You saved our country. You saved our country. God. Because it's nothing like this has ever happened before. And you know what? The world is watching. And when prime ministers and when presidents and kings and queens, they talk to me, they say, congratulations on what's happened with your economy, Mr. President. It's incredible. They're emulating what we're doing. They can't believe it. So we continue to decimate the remnants, because there are always going to be remnants. We can take the area, the land. We'll soon have 100%. But there are always remnants. They get out. They wrap themselves in bombs. They're crazy. They're lunatics. But you're always going to have that. But we want to bring now, get 100%. It was so bad when I took over. It was going the opposite direction. Syria, we want to bring our troops back home. It's time. It's time. It's time. And thanks to the extraordinary service of our military in Afghanistan, 19 years we're in Afghanistan. We may now be able to seek a political resolution that, frankly, they've wanted to talk about for a long time. We've hit them very hard. But it's been 19 years. Think of that, 19 years. We spend more on military in Afghanistan, $50 billion a year, than most countries spend on their entire country, health care, education, everything. We spend more than they do. It's time to start thinking smart for our country. We want to build our country. We want to spend money in our country. We want to build our roads and highways and bridges and dams. And last month, the United States recognized the legitimate government of Venezuela and condemned the socialist brutality of the Maduro regime. Everywhere socialism has been, everywhere it's been implemented, it's produced poverty, misery, repression, and despair. You take a look, no matter where. Yet there are those trying to implement socialism right here in the United States. So I again say to you, and I say it for the world to hear, America will never be a socialist country. Never, never. We're born free, we will live free, and we will die free. We will always be free. Each of us here tonight is united by the same timeless values. We believe in the American Constitution and our great rule of law. We believe in the dignity of work and the sanctity of life. We believe that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the center of the American way. We believe in religious liberty, the right to free speech, and the right to keep and bear arms. We believe that children should be taught to love our country, honor our incredible history, and always respect our great American flag. We believe that the first duty of government is to be loyal to its citizens, and we live by the words of our national motto that we are going to keep. We'll never change this. In God we trust. These are the beliefs, traditions, and principles that bind us together as citizens, as neighbors, as great patriots. These are the values that unite people all across the great state of Texas. From Houston to Austin, from Dallas to El Paso, from the Red River to the Rio Grande, the Lone Star State embodies the spirit of independence like maybe no other place anywhere in the world. And you have always embraced the cause of American freedom like no one else. This is the state where William Travis, James Bowie, and Davy Crockett made their last stand at the Alamo. This is the state where a small band of patriots at the Battle of Gonzales, armed with a single cannon, stared down a foreign powerful army and declared, "Come and take it. Come and take it. Come on, take it." And Texas is the state where generations of farmers, ranchers, oil workers, and pioneers helped build up the most extraordinary nation in all of human history. That's what we are. We were losing track. We didn't lose track anymore. You are going to make your stand. That's what we've done. We've made our stand, and we've made it together. This is a big group of millions and millions of people that have come together like never before in our history. This has never happened before. And we've come for safety, for sovereignty, and for the sacred rights given to us by the hand of Almighty God. We are one united movement, one united people, and one United States of America. And together, with the proud and incredible and great people of the state of Texas, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Texas. Thank you.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times, and I'd like to thank every single one of you for tuning in. Also, thank you everyone that shared the live stream on social media. Now, I gotta bring something up. This is what I've noticed. So whenever we stream very important streams like the State of the Union, when President Trump gave a speech from the Oval Office, nothing ever happened. Now, when we stream rallies, it gets slowed. It's like if the internet gets slowed down and buffering starts through YouTube. I really do not know what it is, folks. It only happens for Trump rallies. Any other important speech, it never happens. But whenever there's a rally, there's always buffering or there's always something. That's what happened today twice. Maybe, yeah, twice that it happened. On the previous rally that we had, it happened 3 times. And thank you everyone that stays there for an extra, minute or 2 minutes just to make sure, to see if the issue is fixed. Thank you to those that actually stayed behind and, said, you know what? It happens. It's the internet or YouTube or whatever. And you guys stuck through and you guys stayed here with us at Golden State Times instead of switching over instantly, even though it took a second or two for the issue to get fixed. So thank you so much for your support. That means so much to me because even let's say that something happened to the live stream, I can really, really quickly fix it and Patriots will still be on the chat. So if you did that, if you've done that, thank you so much for believing in us here at Golden State Times. So I'm very much appreciative of that. Also, I'm very appreciative of people that share our live stream on social media. All those that joined us today as a new subscriber. If you haven't subscribed yet and you liked our coverage, you found it informative, and you liked our live stream, then we encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell, and hopefully YouTube notifies you. But if you want to get notified directly by me here at Golden State Times, then all you have to do is send me a text message with the word America First to the number 555888. Again, all you have to do is text America First to me at 555888. It's that easy. It's 100% free. And then I'll send you a notification whenever there's another Trump rally, a very important speech by the president, and very important live streams that we need to do. So all you have to do is text America First to 555888, and then I'll send you a notification in the future. So also, another thing that I want to say is thank you so much to the moderators for keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. I hope that the new feature that YouTube has on the chat for moderators is helping you guys, making sure that the chat is clean and stuff like that. So I hope that new feature that YouTube gave you guys is helping out. And thank you so much for your hard work and stuff like that. So I have a couple, give me 1 second here. So I got a couple super chats that I want to give a shout out to. First off, I want to start off with Magna Boo, Samuel, Desolate AK. Thank you so much for your continued support and your super chats. Thank you so much. F. Ryan, Sandy Gorison, Deb, Terry, Desolate AK. Once again, thank you so much for your continued support. Matthew and Kenny. We also want to give a thank you to The Great Awakening 1776. Thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support through Super Chat. If you can't support that way, that's fine. All you have to do is just share our live streams and our videos when we upload them. That's all you need to do, folks, to help us out here at Golden State Times. All right, so have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new, subscribe to the channel. We hope you join us. We welcome you. And we hope to see you guys here tomorrow, first thing in the morning, for more news, more White House press coverage, and everything else in between. Also, don't forget that we have a website, folks, goldenstatetimes.com, goldenstatetimes.com, goldenstatetimes.com. That is the website where we publish all of our news articles. We have great reporters on there, folks. A lot of people don't know that we have a website that we post all of the news that is happening on a day-to-day basis. We bring it to you there first, folks. goldenstatetimes.com. We do have a website, so make sure you guys go and bookmark it. That way you guys can stay up to date on everything, both on video and also on publishing. So we try to cover all of our bases here, folks, at Golden State Times. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Peace.